So Anthropic just launched AI for businesses, and I'll be honest with you, it's actually really impressive. But there's one thing that it cannot do. And if you're running a real business, that one thing is probably the thing that's costing you the most amount of money right now. So my name is Fag, I'm 18 years old and I run an applied AI consultancy, which means before anything actually gets built, we diagnose exactly where a business is losing time, money, and focus. No templates, no pre-built connectors. We map the operation first and then we build around the specific problem. So when Anthropic launched something this week that's supposed to skip that entire step, you best believe I had to take a proper look. And what I found is way more interesting than the press release, so let's dive straight into it. So Anthropic, the company behind Claude, one of the most capable AI models in the world, just launched something called Claude for small businesses. And here's what it actually is. It offers pre-built AI workflows that plug directly into tools you're probably already using. We're talking QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, DocuSign, Google Workspace, and Microsoft 365. 7 platforms out of the box, ready to go. I mean, the pitch is simple. Small business owners that don't have an IT team or who don't have a developer on payroll can now get AI working inside their existing tools without setting anything up for themselves. And honestly, for what it is, that's genuinely very impressive. And Anthropic is one of the most capable and serious AI labs in the world. And now they're pointing that capability directly at local businesses, and that is a huge deal. But here's what I want you to understand before you actually get excited. What it does inside those platforms and what it doesn't do outside of them are 2 very different things. Now, let me show you what I mean with 3 different types of businesses, because this is where it actually gets real. So for number 1, we have the plumber. Now, let's say you are running a plumbing business. You've got QuickBooks for invoicing and maybe HubSpot for your contacts. Claude for small businesses can now help you inside of those tools, whether that's drafting follow-up emails, pulling invoice data, or summarizing customer history. Genuinely useful things for the admin side of the business. But here's the question: what happens when someone calls you at 10 PM with a burst pipe? That call rings out and your phone isn't connected to Claude for small business. There's no workflow capturing that inquiry, qualifying it, or booking the job while you're asleep. That lead is now gone and it went to whoever picked up. But let's actually go deeper than that, because let's say that you wanted to build a workflow, say something that captures emergency inquiries and routes them automatically. Claude for small businesses can't build it around your actual business. What I mean by that, it doesn't have the context of your business. So it doesn't know what postcodes you cover, it doesn't know your job types, your pricing, and which jobs are actually emergency versus standard bookings, or how you actually triage a call out. Pre-built workflows give you a template. A template built for every plumber on the planet fits you the same way a suit off the rack fits everyone. Technically it's a suit, but it's not really yours. So the admin got smarter, but the operational gaps are still there. Now for number 2, we actually have a dental practice. Let's say that you're busy and your receptionist is literally with a patient. The phone rings and it's a new patient trying to book in an appointment, but then it goes to voicemail and most of them don't actually even leave one. Now Claude for small businesses can actually help your practice with DocuSign for patient intake forms, or help draft communications inside Google Workspace. That's the real value for certain workflows, but it's not really answering your phone. It doesn't know your appointment types, whether that's hygiene, checkup, or emergency, or even if it's a private or public clinic. It's not booking anything. It doesn't even know that your practice exists unless you're manually logged into one of those 7 platforms. And here's actually the workflow angle, because this goes beyond just the phones. Say you want to build a patient recall workflow, something that automatically follows up with patients who are 6 months overdue for a checkup. Claude for small businesses cannot build that around your practice. It doesn't know your appointment categories, your recall intervals, or which patients are actually on a treatment plan versus a one-off visit. That context has to come from somewhere, and pre-built connectors simply don't have that, because they were built for every dental practice in the world, not yours specifically. And the front desk problem, the one that costs most practices north of £200,000 a year in missed new patient revenue, that's untouched. And the workflows that could actually fix the underlying problem, those need someone who understands how the practice actually runs before even writing a single line of automation. Now last but not least, we actually have mortgage brokers. Mortgage brokers spend something like 15 to 20 hours a week literally just answering basic questions and chasing documents, and it's genuinely brutal. And this is where AI should genuinely be changing things. Claude for small businesses can help a broker inside HubSpot summarize lead notes, drafting emails, and moving things around in their CRM. It's useful and it generally actually saves some time. But when it comes to document chasing, the automated workflow that pings a client every 3 days for their proof of income, their bank statements, their employment letter, and then routes those documents to the right place the moment they arrive, that's not what Claude for small businesses actually does. And even if you tried to build something like that with a pre-built workflow, it would fall apart immediately, because document chasing for a mortgage application isn't a generic process. It's different for a first-time buyer versus a remortgage, different at week 2 of the application versus week 6, different depending on which lenders you're actually submitting to. That specificity has to be built by someone who actually understands the process, not selected from a dropdown. After our inquiries from when the broker's off, same story. Claude isn't sitting there at 9 p.m. responding to a new lead because nobody's mapped out what that response should look like for that broker's specific client base. That's the difference between a workflow and a system. One runs and the other understands. So what is it actually good for? And I want to be fair here because it generally is useful for a specific type of business. So if you're a freelancer or a small retail shop, a consultant, or anyone whose whole operation literally lives inside of Google Workspace or things like HubSpot, this is a real upgrade. The AI is good, it's Anthropic's AI, and having it natively inside those platforms with no setup is generally very valuable and useful. However, for the businesses where the work happens on the phone or through operational workflows that exists outside of those 7 platforms, it's a starting point, not a solution. So here are 3 things that I genuinely want you guys to remember. Number 1, Claude for small businesses is a real tool from a serious company and is genuinely useful for the businesses that live inside those 7 platforms. Number 2, if your biggest operational gaps are on the phone, in your booking system, or in workflows that exist out of those platforms, this doesn't touch them. And last but not least, number 3, and this is the one that I really want you guys to actually sit with. Helping businesses integrate AI is absolutely still the move. That hasn't changed. What's changed is the question that you need to be actually asking. So it's no longer, do I have AI? It's, does my AI actually know how my business works? A connector that talks to your HubSpot and a system built around how your specific operation runs are 2 completely different things. One is a feature and one is a competitive advantage. Anyways, I guess my last question to you guys would be, before you actually go, what's the gap in your business that AI still hasn't touched? The thing that's still broken no matter what tools you actually try. Drop it down in the comments below. I genuinely want to know what's unsolved. I cover this stuff every week, real breakdowns, no hype, and if that's useful to you, subscribe, you will see why. And if you want to know what your specific gap looks like mapped out, I'll do that with you completely free. All it takes is 15 minutes. You walk away knowing exactly what's costing you time, money, and focus. Bloomzenai.com, that will be in the description down below. Anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys actually learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.